Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to Chocolate Covered Pages. I'm Kiona, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about some books that I believe give all the fall vibes. Now, we're not going to get into super scary books in this video. That is coming up. But in this video, it is going to be more geared towards people who want to be reading and feel all those fall vibes, but they don't necessarily want to be like sleeping with the light on. Okay, so the first book I want to talk about is I, Tituba, Black Witch of Salem by Maurice Condé. I would classify this book as kind of like realistic historical fiction because Tituba was an actual real person. Tituba was the only black victim of the Salem witch trials. And we don't get a lot of information about her in history. Like when you look it up, like there's not very much there for us to learn. And Maurice Condé decided that she wanted to write a book that was pretty much giving Tituba a voice. So we meet Tituba first in Barbados, and in Barbados, you know, her mom was a slave in Barbados, and her mom ends up being hung while Tituba is I think she's like 7 years old when this happens, because her mom wounded a plantation owner who was trying to rape her. So they killed her mom, and Tituba gets taken under the wing of this woman named Mama Yaya, and under this woman's wing, Tituba is pretty much a free woman. And under her tutelage, she starts to learn, you know, all of these ways of healing and, you know, a different type of spiritual practice, you know, where a lot of people would come to Mama Yaya and Tituba, you know, if they had any ailments or whatever, like, you know, they were healers, really. Well, that doesn't necessarily translate well when it comes to Tituba suddenly being in Massachusetts. A lot of times when things are foreign to certain people, oh no, we gotta, you know, I don't know what this person is doing, but nah, it's bad. It's witchcraft. You know, everything during the Salem witch trials was, oh, that's witchcraft. Like, no. So when you find out how Tituba went from being a free black woman to suddenly being a slave at some point and being in this position in Massachusetts at all, like, your head is going to explode. You're going to be like, girl, what? Like, how? Okay, see, all I have to say is you have to read it. The next book I want to talk about is The Changeling by Victor Lavelle, and I am excited to talk about this book because I feel like this book just doesn't get enough burn, and I don't know why. I feel like it's so underrated. It's not super scary, which is why I've included it in this video, but it has a very like gothic type ominous vibe where you feel like you're just waiting from the beginning of the book, like you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. You know something crazy is about to happen, but even when that moment when that moment happens, you're like, oh, I was not even thinking that. Like, I was not even thinking that was what was gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, it gets pretty dark. But basically, this book is about this man named Apollo. And Apollo, you know, at the beginning of this book, we we follow Apollo, and he meets this woman, and the woman becomes his wife, and everything is all great. And I'm just like, oh, but how is this horror? You know what I mean? Like, how is this horror? Everything is going great. But then I'm like, I don't know, something still feels a little bit off while I'm reading it. You know how when it just feels a little too perfect? Well, his wife just wigs out one day and does something terrible, absolutely terrible. And then Apollo, he goes on this journey to try to find his wife and his child. And along this journey, he meets some very interesting characters. We see Apollo get into some very strange situations on this journey, heading to try to find his wife. Like, you know, people are giving him clues, and this book is just different. Like, it's just unlike any book I've ever read that has been like horror. Like, I like the way Victor LaValle's mind works. He also has another book that's coming out in 2023 called The Lone Woman. I cannot wait to read that because we haven't gotten a fiction book from Victor LaValle in a while. So I am super excited to read that one. But in the meantime, you could definitely pick up The Changeling right now. The next book I want to talk about is Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Iyamade. In this book, we are following two black students, Devin and Chiamaka, and they are both one of the very few black students in this prestigious white academy. Chiamaka, even though she's black, she is pretty popular. Like, you know, she has like this group of friends, you know, she's got like, you know, boyfriends and stuff like that. She's very popular. Devin, on the other hand, is not very popular at all. He's just, you know, kind of doing his own thing. He's kind of like a lone wolf in the school. So suddenly this anonymous person calling themselves Aces starts texting Chiamaka and Devin, but just like threatening things and just like really cryptic type of messages. And then it becomes where Aces starts basically spilling tea on Chiamaka and Devin and sending it to the rest of the student body. Like, on some Gossip Girl, basically. You know how on Gossip Girl where, you know, Gossip Girl would just send out a blast text and it'll be like a video of somebody doing something very questionable. That is basically what Aces has been doing throughout this entire book. So finally, Devin and Chiamaka start, you know, actually get together because, you know, they were never cool or whatever. Because, you know, Chiamaka was the popular girl and she never really paid Devin any mind, even though they're like one of the few black people in the school. Basically they get together and they're like, yo, this is feeling like a racial attack because why are they only attacking the two of us? You know what I mean? And they start following these clues and starting to really chop it down and play the process of elimination on who the hell Aces could be. And let me tell you, when it all comes out, you're gonna be shocked. You're gonna be shocked. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, right. So it's not like, again, is not like super scary, you know, like that, but it has the feel of the season. The next book I want to talk about is The Monsters We Defy by Leslie Penelope. And this book was fun. This is going to give you more like cozy, right? Like cozy paranormal type vibes because we have ghosts in this book. So this woman on the cover, Clara is her name. Clara has a special ability to where she can communicate with ghosts, all right? And she typically can use this ability to help other people, you know, who want something. They usually come to Clara like, I want something, and, you know, are you going to be able to help me by communicating with the spirit world for me to get it? Now, with Clara's gift, she has gotten something called a tick, which is basically like a trick. Where you'll make a deal with a spirit, and the spirit will give you what you're looking for, but it will also have a consequence for you. So Clara is starting to notice that people are beginning to go missing. Like, random people are beginning to go missing. Like, her coworker is missing. Nobody has seen this guy in weeks. Another client has come to her saying that, her son, he's not missing, but he's acting very, very strange. And he keeps trying to walk off. Like, she's literally had to, stay, grab him up to stay close to her, because he keeps trying to leave to go somewhere, but she doesn't know. And she even tried to help them by going into the spirit world to get someone to help them. None of the spirits would answer her, child. None of them. She's like, where is everybody? You know what I mean? Like, why nobody want to touch this? Like, any other time when I'm calling for help, y'all be coming over here to, help somebody, obviously, so you could give them a trick as well, but nobody's coming over. Like, what is this about? So finally, the spirit that Clara has her deal with has come to her with a proposition. Like, listen, there is this famous woman, I believe she's an actress or something, and she is wearing this ring. The ring is very powerful. I need you to steal this ring. If you steal this ring from me, I will get rid of your trick, right? So, in order to do this, Clara has realized that she's going to need help. She's pulled together this team of other people that have different abilities. Like, one guy, he can transform his face so he can see, so you will be able to see whoever he wants you to see. Basically, it could be somebody famous, it could be whoever. He can transform himself. So there's definitely people in this group that have different abilities, and they all have their own backstories on how they came to get this ability, and then they all have their own tricks, right, and their own spirits that they are connected to. So it's definitely a very interesting book, and it's very fun, because you're seeing them like trying to figure out how they could get this ring, and it's definitely for people who want the vibes, but they want it to be like a little fun and not so dark. The next book I want to talk about is a OG, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and I absolutely love this book. This book is not super scary, but it is one of the first gothic novels that I've read, and it's also a book that was one of the first classics that I read, and it is definitely one of my favorite classics for sure. I just love the whole feel of this book. Like, the whole feel of this book. And I keep saying to myself, you need to pick up some more Daphne du Maurier. And I have been collecting them. Ask me if I read any. I have not. I am ashamed. But anyway, this book is about a woman. She is unnamed. That is how insignificant this woman is supposed to be, because she don't even have a name, y'all. She don't even have a name. She is just, before I had picked this book up, I thought that the woman's name was Rebecca. Her name is not Rebecca. The unnamed narrator, right? She is like kind of like a servant to this rich woman, and they go off to I don't know where they were. Maybe in New York somewhere. I think they were in New York, but they were at like this fancy, social club or whatever. She meets this very rich man named Maxim de Winter, and he takes a liking to her. So she quits her job helping this woman, and she decides that she's gonna go back with this man, Mr. De Winter, to his estate called Manderley. So Mr. De Winter had an ex-wife named Rebecca, who this book is named for, and Rebecca passed away the year before. But, you know, obviously in this big estate, we have all these different people that work at this house, you know, to keep it running. And the unnamed narrator ends up getting married to this guy. And the whole house is like, who the hell is this? You know what I mean? Some people are a lot more welcoming than others, okay? Because there is an older woman. I can't think of her name right now because I haven't read this book in years. But she, from the beginning, you could tell, like, she has a problem with our unnamed narrator. Because she is still stuck on Rebecca. She is still stuck on Rebecca. She will not let Rebecca go. She has taken it very hard that Mrs. De Winter is no longer with us. And the unnamed narrator starts to feel like, she feels like she's still living in Rebecca's shadow, because this older woman that works at this estate, she just won't let it go. You know what I mean? She continues to compare her to Rebecca, and the unnamed narrator is just like, she becomes obsessed with Rebecca, basically, like completely obsessed. And she starts kind of digging into things that she really has no business doing. And there's certain, like, this older lady that works there, first of all, like, she is quite entertaining, okay? She is quite entertaining, and she had me dying laughing the entire book, because she is very sneaky. She is very sneaky, and it's just like this whole gothic vibe around this book where you just reading it and you just know, again, something is off. I like reading books like that where you just know something's off, but you don't know what is it gonna be and what way is it gonna, you know, is there gonna be some type of twist. I would just say that this book really set the tone for gothic type of novels, like, for sure, because I loved everything about this book, how it all came together in the end. My mouth was wide open when I got to the end of this book, because I was not expecting what I read at all. But it's such a good one, and I know now why so many people are always talking about this book, especially during this time of the year. The next book I want to recommend is Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is another book that is very dark. It is very dark, which is why it gives me fall vibes. So we meet this young lady named Mary, and Mary has been accused of killing a white baby. Okay, Mary is black, by the way. Her mom was actually babysitting this baby, and, you know, Mary obviously was at the house with this baby, and it all came out that apparently Mary killed this child, and Mary went to baby jail. They call it baby jail. For years, right? And she is now at this kind of, now that she's older, she's in her teen years, she's now staying at this group home with other young ladies as well. Apparently when this first happened, Mary didn't have very much to say in the interview. Every time she was asked, like, she never really would say, yes, I did it, no, I did not. She never denied it. Like, it was just, you know, so it's just like, okay, well, you know, lock her little ass up then. You know what I mean? But now Mary has gotten into a relationship with some guy named Ted, and now she's pregnant with his baby. So now she's thinking, yo, like, I gotta do something because I'm in this group home, I'm pregnant, like, I gotta do what I gotta do for my own kid and my own family. Like, maybe I should start speaking now. Maybe I should start, you know, giving some other information about what happened that night. And this story just goes on a whirlwind because you're trying to figure out, you know, who killed this baby. Somebody did it. It was only the two of them in this house. Like, what happened? And when you finally, again, once you finally get to the end of this book, the twist is crazy. It's very unexpected, and those are the type of books that I like to read. Surprise me. And lastly, I want to do something that I never do, but I feel like I have to include it in this video because it is giving me all the vibes, okay? My Soul to Take by Tananarive Due. Oh my goodness. I'm currently reading this book, but I'm a little over halfway, so I feel like I could talk about it now. We meet this woman named Jessica, and Jessica has met this man. He used to be her professor. He was, I think, her Spanish professor in college, and they ended up dating after she finished schooling, and now they're married. They have a daughter together, and everything seems just perfect, right? She's a journalist, you know, and like everything is all coming together for her. She feels like she has the perfect husband, but what she doesn't know is that her husband David is hiding a very big secret from her. So 400 years ago in Ethiopia, David and his friend decided to do a blood ritual that has allowed David to be immortal, pretty much. If he gets a cut, it heals right away. He literally cannot die. Like, nothing can happen to him. So, but the problem is that once you do this ritual, now you're a part of this whole immortal, kind of like a society or something. They have rules, and you know, as part of you being a part of this thing. But David has continued to, you know, he decided that he wanted to kind of strike off on his own after a while. Like, he was just tired of just the mundane, you know, getting a bunch of chicks, you know, having sex with them and getting drunk and blah, blah, and hanging out with his friend. Like, after a while, those things get kind of boring, and he decided that he was going to strike out on his own. This man goes to the South. I don't know why he goes to the South, but of course he goes to the South. We see him have to deal with slavery because, remember, he wasn't no slave before. He was just kind of living life, and now he decided to come to the U.S. and go to the South in the U.S. as a black man. You look black, you're a slave now. You know what I mean? We see him respond to all of these things that are happening around him at different periods of time, and it was really great to see, like, his lifespan, basically, you know, as a black man in these different areas. And I feel like that was something that I was missing in the book, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, because I was trying to figure out, like, this person been living for all this time. Like, we should see different time periods and what's happening. So, but I'm not gonna even talk about that book no more. I just feel like it's now all starting to come to a head. He wants to keep his wife and his daughter with him, and he is thinking about doing the blood ritual on them, which is another thing that would be against the rules with this immortal society that he's in. So I am very curious to see, like, how is this all going to pan out? I am very excited to see what's gonna happen next. But again, I feel like I can talk about it because I'm loving it. If somehow, some way it ends up ending terribly, I will tell y'all about it. But as of right now, it is definitely a 5-star read for me. So that is it for this video. Please subscribe if you have not already, and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'm also going to put some videos on the screen that I think you should also check out. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.